Start your week with a triple shot of good vibes. This is the Project Joy podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thanks for joining me. Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm super thrilled to join you every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time for another episode. For anybody that doesn't know, Project Joy Live or Project Joy podcast started January of 2020. It was a 52-week podcast experience that allowed me to talk about 52 different places to find and experience joy. Because one of the things that I realized throughout my life is no matter what I was going through at the time, that I at the end of the day, I needed to find and experience joy in order to live my best life. And a couple of years ago, when I was really in this space of having a hard time and having difficulty, I woke up one day and I said, you know what, I'm just not going to do anything anymore that doesn't completely bring me joy in the moment. And I know that sounds really far-fetched to a lot of people. It sounds like, how is that even possible? And my whole point of this show is to show you that it is possible. And also, why do we do it on Monday morning, friends? Because so many people say that Mondays suck. And I just said, we are not going to do that anymore. We are not going to make it so that Mondays suck. You got to have, some positivity to start your week, some positivity to start your day. And now we have some positivity to start our month because this is our first episode in June. So I want you guys to do me a favor. If you are on our Facebook or YouTube platforms, please take a moment and use the comment section. Say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. And let's have some fun here together this morning. So as always, I want to remind you of a couple of things. First of all, while I chat with you this morning about what's bringing me joy, you guys can actually head over to projectjoypodcast.com and click the join live button, and you can actually come on air with me to share a moment of joy or gratitude. That's projectjoypodcast.com. You'll see a join live button just a minute down the page there, and you can join live on the screen with me this morning. So want to shout out some of our friends really quick this morning. We are going to shout out to Jason Lansing here this morning. Good morning, Jason. No, Chad, Jester, Collins, Mondays do not suck. They do not suck because you're starting them here on Project Joy. And, you're here and it's good. Brian Tracy is here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks to me from his choice of emojis that Brian Tracy is tired today. He's tired today. And Jester, thank you. Mondays not sucking brings me joy. If you have not commented down below, also hi to all of my TikTok friends as well. Whether you're on TikTok or you're over on Facebook or YouTube, I would love for you to take a minute and share with me what is bringing you joy today so I can shout it out. What's bringing me joy today? I will tell you what's bringing me joy today, and it makes me super excited. Are you ready for it? So I have watched throughout the last 3 years of doing the Breakthrough Show and Project Joy, people come on and sharing a little bit about their stories and a little bit about how they got from point A to point B and in their lives. And it's been really cool to be a witness of that. It's been really cool to be a witness of those turnaround moments. And one of the things that I realized throughout this is when we're in the midst of our own stuff, when we're participating, when we're being active participants in our own lives, it's not as always too easy to see the turnaround that's happening. But lately, I have had this sort of out of body perspective almost of being able to witness how things are coming together with some things that I have planning behind the scenes. And I have very openly shared over the last 3 years that I have been actively working the last 10 years or so, 12 years or so, to turn around some chronic health issues that I've had in my life. And I'm very much a holistic person. I've looked at this from an entire holistic perspective and have done incredible work, really, and not and patting my own self on the back and turning this stuff around for myself. And but one of my difficulties in having, one of my challenges in having dealt with all of those issues is that when I go to plan for the future, it can make me even more nervous because I automatically go to that space in my head of, what if I go backwards? What if something happens? And it's a really challenging space to be in because even if I'm doing well in the moment, it's almost like a PTSD sort of response where you're going, what if something happens, and I can't move forward with this, or I can't fulfill my obligations or something like that. So anyway, as I'm planning for so much in the future right now, of course, I've had those things popping up with me again. And I recognize, hey, girl, you got to shift this because otherwise you're not going to be able to focus on what's really important here. And so as I've been doing all of this planning, all of a sudden this person comes into my life who was introduced to me. She's actually going to be on the Breakthrough Show later in the season. I had no clue the work that she did in the world. It was just a mutual friend that introduced us. And as I asked her, I was like, well, what do you do? And she goes into describing what she does for work and that her main person that she works with is someone who has some of the same symptoms that I have. And I'm like, what? Where did you come from? And it was like she was just presented to me out of thin air. And the really cool thing is that the person that introduced us, he could have had no idea that what I go through. He had no idea, what I needed in my life, that she could have helped me in that kind of way. And so it was the most beautiful thing to see this innocent introduction. And now it's someone that I've had in my life. So I just started doing her morning routine and working with her a little bit, and looking forward to working with her team one-on-one because I have seen amazing results already in working with her in just about a week. And so that is bringing me a lot of joy this week, is the ability to being able to witness being open to something and allowing it to happen, allowing it to help us. Because ultimately it goes back to the conversation that we've had many times on the Breakthrough Show, which is that, we can have all these breakthroughs. We can have all these things given to us. But if we don't use it, if we don't take advantage of it, if we don't choose it, none of it mattered. It's been kind of funny for me to say as the host of the Breakthrough Show that the breakthrough doesn't actually matter. It's what you do with it afterwards. And that's what we really try to see in the stories of people that come on the Breakthrough Show. But to see that happening with my own life and to witness it in myself, again, patting myself on the back this morning, that feels really good. And it's really bringing me joy. Jason saying that I bring him joy this morning. And I appreciate that, Jason. I appreciate you being here, and you bring me joy by being here. Brian, we have to have a conversation. Brian says, this Monday is too young to decide if the sucking will be real or not. Well, you're here. So you can choose right now. Okay, if any of you guys are watching and you feel like, I don't know if today sucks yet, I want you to just stop that thinking right now and choose in this moment that it's not going to suck. Okay. That's literally all you have to do. And if something happens later to knock you off that path of saying, if something happening and then you go, well, I guess don't say that. No, because one little thing happening doesn't make a whole day suck. It's very similar to a lot of the chatting and mentality that I saw about 2020. So many people saying, well, 2020 sucked. You mean to tell me that you didn't smile or laugh or bring someone joy or have joy brought to you at any point into the whole 2020 sucked? No, it did not. I have not met one person that the whole thing sucked. But we do that as humans. We don't compartmentalize enough to where we're not lumping it all together as this whole thing sucks. So this is what I want you to do right now, whether you're on my TikTok platform or you're over here on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are in the world. I want you to close your eyes with me for just a minute. Close your eyes. Unless you're driving, please don't close your eyes if you're driving. For the love of God, do not do that. But close your eyes where you are if you can. And I want you to take a deep breath. And if you are here on this show right now, you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. Something or someone, likely me, sent you this way for a reason. And I want you to choose right now, harness all of the power that I know is within you, and choose that today it's not going to suck. Choose it. Take a deep breath on that. Notice how good it feels to just choose to be the one in the power, to be the one to pick. And if something bad happens later on today, that doesn't mean that the whole day sucked. This morning was still good. This morning you still chose it. And you can guess what? Guess what? Here's the magic. You can choose it again after that thing happens. You're powerful. You're magical. You can choose it. And then when you've chosen, I want you to come to the comment section, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you're at, come to the comment section and type in, I choose joy. That's all I want you to say. I choose joy. And I want to see how many we can get. And after you do that, I want you to make sure that if you have the ability to share this broadcast with a friend or family member or a colleague who might need some joy in their lives today. Okay? I choose joy. All right. Also, Pac-Man Chris Green Bay is in the house. Good morning and happy Monday. All right. Yes, I'm not trying to wreck you, Jester. Please don't close your eyes. Truckers, do not close your eyes. You understand? All right, you guys. Innocent Introductions is the name of my new matchmaker service. I love that, Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is always naming different new businesses when he comes on lives. Judith, good morning. Yes, my friend, it is awesome news. Good to see you here today. And Jeannie, good morning. Happy Monday. I've gotten a lot of joy from the people I've met through coffee hour. Jeannie is referring to our Soul Saturday morning coffee hour that we have every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. In order to be a part of that, it's just being a member of our Patreon, which I think is something ridiculous. It's like $3 a month or something, some kind of nonsense that I'm undercharging for. But it is $3 a month to support the Breakthrough Show Network. You guys, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/The Breakthrough Show. And when you support us through there, you can come on our Saturday morning coffee. And we do have a good time. Mondays only suck when they do. Mondays only suck when you choose for them to suck, Jester. And that's it. Yeah, no, don't do that, Brian. Brian, don't do Jester was meditating. We appreciate that. Mr. Jackson is here. Good morning and happy Monday to you, my friend. It's good to see your face. Well, I see your picture there, but here we are. Jason chooses joy. Jester chooses joy. Judith chooses joy. Anne over on TikTok chooses joy, and she has coffee. That's another joyful moment right there. My dad is here, you guys. Everybody say hi to Greg Cushing. That's my dad in the house. Everybody say good morning, Greg. It's good to see you this morning. And then Brian Tracy chose joy, but then realized she dumped him years ago. See? We got our joke in today, friends. We got our joke in today. It's good to see you guys choosing joy this morning. That's what it's all about. And Jester loves tacos randomly. Loves tacos this morning. Oh my goodness, you guys. So listen, and also Judith is saying, good morning, Greg. Brian Tracy is saying, good morning, Greg. My dad is an early riser. My mom's also an early riser. I that's probably why I'm an early riser. My grandfather was an early riser too. Yes, there we go. Mr. Jackson saying, good morning, Greg. Brian Tracy's on the tacos rule. You guys, tomorrow's Taco Tuesday. Who's having tacos for Tacos Tuesday tomorrow? So anyway, this morning, I've got some fun things to chat with you about, but I want to remind you, I would love to see any of your smiling faces on the show for the next segment. ProjectJoyPodcast.com. Click the Join Live button to share a moment of joy or gratitude live on air with me here. You can literally go to ProjectJoyPodcast.com. There's a little Join Live button right in the middle. And you just click that and you can come on the show with me and share a moment of joy or gratitude for the next segment of the show. Really quickly. Nice, Jester. Good morning, Phil's daddy-in-law. I love it. Everybody loves Phil. My husband is more popular than me for the majority. Judith loves tacos too. So here we are. All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back. Don't forget to come and pop on the show if you'd like to be on this morning and share some joy or gratitude with us today. And we'll be right back in just a minute.
Hi, my name is Brandon. And over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Yes, Brian Tracy. I know that guy too. Make sure you guys check out delightcafe.com for all of your, listen, you guys, I say it all the time. His product is crazy good. And it's something that is different than any other CBD that's out there. So make sure you guys check that out as well. And if you get a chance to talk to him or send him a message, let him know that I sent you his way, their way. And, make sure you do that. So I want to talk about some different things for the next 8 weeks, you guys. So what happened was I have an amazing woman on the Breakthrough Show this Friday. I have two amazing women on the Breakthrough Show this Friday. The first is Karen Lynn. So Karen Lynn dropped everything. Her realtor came to her and said, you have 48 hours to determine if you're going to renew your lease or not. And she just decided, no, I'm not going to renew my lease and I'm going to buy a camper and I'm going to travel. Last year, in the middle of the pandemic, you guys, she did this. And so we're going to talk a little bit to Karen Lynn, but I also have someone on the show whose name is Jenny Landgren, and she's from Sweden. And that was a fun connection for me because my kids have a lot of Swedish friends. They play on Minecraft and they have a lot of Swedish friends that play on there with them. And Jenny is a behavioral science expert. And the one thing that she does talk about and that she has a book about, which I'm super excited is going to be here on Thursday, is about choosing unity. And in a world, I just, there couldn't be better timing for this, I feel like, in a world where we are constantly pointed out, having our differences pointed out, and then being told that our differences should be bad. It should separate us. It should do all of these things that are not positive. We're not really taught to honor differences. We are taught to use them as a means to separate us and as a means to point something out that is, ways to not bring us together and to not create friendships and relationships and understanding, which is a lot of what this life is about. It's about growing and understanding. And anyway, she is one of the most beautiful souls I have ever hosted on the Breakthrough Show. And I'm super excited to have her on. And as I was trolling her LinkedIn this last weekend, she posted a graphic that actually came out of Duke University study, a Duke University study on happiness. And happiness ties very much into this conversation of joy, because when we are happy, we can experience more joy. And if any of you guys have any thoughts about what you feel like the difference is between joy and happiness, please do let me know, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But I think it ties. I see joy as much more of an overall feeling, and happiness as more of a something that's in the moment. And joy can encompass a lot of things, not necessarily just happiness. So I feel like happiness is kind of an underlying emotion. But as I said, when you're happy, it can bring you more joy. Good morning, Miss Ford. Good to see you today. So, and don't forget, you guys can pop on at any time clicking that live button at projectjoypodcast.com. So there was 8 factors of happiness that Duke University came up with as they talked about happiness in this study that they did. And I thought we would take the next 8 weeks and talk about each of these 8 things, because I think they're all really, really amazing. So, spoiler alert for those of you that were on my text email list and got this image this week, because I sent it out yesterday. But number 1 on the list of the 8 factors of happiness is lack of suspicion and resentment. Nursing a grudge was a major factor in unhappiness. Now, we talk about let me share this really quick, because this goes into what we're talking about right now. Miss Ford says happiness is based on circumstances. Joy is a feeling of inner peace and contentment. I love that. In the same way, though, I do think that we can choose happiness, just as we choose joy, right? But we might not necessarily. But like I shared, I think a really great example of this is that I share often that I experienced joy when my brother passed away. And it wasn't, but here's the difference. I was not happy that he died. Okay. It was many things tied into why I allowed myself to experience joy in that moment, but I wasn't happy that he died. So you see the disconnect there a little bit. The act of smiling increases happiness and joy. I think happiness is off and on. Joy is an overall feeling. I love that, Judith, too. Absolutely. Miss Ford and Miss Finneran are right on this morning. Brian's adding a packet of Delight Cafe CBD to his morning smoothie because it brings calm, balance, delight, and joy. You're absolutely right, Brian Tracy. So that part about resentment, you guys, that can be a challenge. Again, going back to the number 1 factor of happiness, lack of suspicion and resentment. Nursing a grudge was a major factor in unhappiness. So it goes back to this idea that we're talking about, that we can choose happiness, that we can choose joy. And good morning, Big Dole. Good to see you. And we can choose joy. So we can choose whether we want to hold on to resentment, anger, frustration when it comes to our relationships with other people. It can be a challenge. It can be a challenge 100%. It has clearly been a challenge for me in the past. I tend to have always been a pretty nostalgic person in a lot of positive ways. But I can see how in my life, years ago, I would allow things to fester. And I think a lot of that, it comes from the inability to feel like in the moment that I could have expressed myself, that I could have communicated how I felt. And so when we don't communicate, that resentment can build up. And then next thing you know, we're exploding, right? We're getting angry. And it can be challenging to, when someone hurts us, when we feel hurt, when we feel angry, when we feel disappointed, to not hang on to that. Like if someone hurts you and you have to then see them on a regular basis, that can be challenging especially if we're not addressing it. But I really feel like a huge factor for us to help us overcome these feelings of suspicion or resentment is to have more conversations. Specifically, tying into the suspicion part of this is what we talk about on Friday's show. You'll see with Jenny Landgren when we talk about choosing unity. When we notice a difference in someone else, something that makes us different, something that makes us separate from each other, we have the opportunity to choose, do I want to focus on this difference? Do I want to ignore the difference? Do I want to nurture or honor the differences? Do I want to use it as a learning opportunity? What do I want to do here? And I think that the more that we have conversations with other people, the less we will be likely to nurse that resentment. But we also need to have conversations with ourselves. And one of the beautiful things that Jenny talked about on the show on Friday are these conversations with ourselves and the beauty that we have to get to know ourselves through this process of creating unity with others, but also that it needs to start with ourselves. I'm trying to pull up the quote that I wrote down. I didn't write that quote down, but I remember it. But she was talking about how when she has something come up within her of the fear that happens when we are connecting with other people and the differences in us scare us, or we have that fear arise, that she says thank you to herself. She says thank you. She doesn't say, hey, it's bad that you're scared and you should not be afraid of other people and you should want to connect with everybody. No, she says thank you to herself. Why? Because herself, her inner self, her body chose for her to, it's trying to protect her. It's doing its job. And so she says thank you. And then, thank you for the warning. Thank you for trying to protect me. And now I'm going to have a conversation with this person. I'm going to connect further with this person in order to not be afraid anymore. That at that point, it's about the choice that we make. So when we have an altercation with someone, when we have someone that's been challenging in our lives, when we have someone who has been mean to us or does something to hurt us, we have a choice in that moment. We can say thank you to ourselves for having feelings, for allowing us to have emotions, for reacting. And then we can choose to say, thank you. And now I'm going to move forward. Now I'm going to not allow this to fester. Now I'm going to have a conversation so that I don't allow this to build up, that we're going to actually talk about it. Miss Ford says happiness can be fleeting with the shifts, turns, and changes in life. Nobody is happy all the time. I think that when we are at peace within self, it can promote peaceful environments. And for me, peace is joy and happiness. I would tend to agree with you, Miss Ford. My dad, so wise, said holding a resentment is like letting someone live rent-free in your head. 100%. 100%. Ms. Ford adds, what we feed grows and what we starve and deny attention to dies. I think so. And I think that part of it, I want to bring that back up for a minute. I think that part of it can be challenging because, for example, if someone has hurt you or you are being mistreated by someone, and then you have to then see that person on a regular basis, you may be going, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to add to it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to any of this stuff. But then we keep seeing the person and it keeps sort of throwing salt on the wound, so to speak. And we had a wonderful conversation on our Saturday morning coffee on this past Saturday morning about appreciation and how do you feel appreciated. And one of the examples I gave up is if someone's having a difficult time at work, we can't always go up to our boss. Could you imagine? And my dad, can you chime in on this? Or even Miss Cheryl, could you, or Brian Tracy too. We have so many veterans on with us this morning. Could you imagine going up to your superior in the military and say, I just don't feel appreciated? I want y'all that are that are veterans to tell me how that would have gone. Okay. And when you're at work and you can't always go to your boss and say, I just don't feel appreciated right now. And this is how I feel appreciated. And I want you to express your appreciation in this way, especially if maybe they showed appreciation in the beginning, but that has changed over time. Could you just imagine saying that to your boss? Okay. So, but a lot of times you can't, or you're not in a position to in the moment. So that continue as much as you might be saying, hey, I appreciate my work that I do myself. When you walk in and you see your boss or you continue to be treated in that way, it can be difficult to let that go because you're continuing, and that can really be a very heavy situation for a person. And so while we're talking about, ding, the fries are done, Chester. What we feed grows and what we starve and deny attention to dies. It really does, it can be difficult in situations like I'm talking about. CK Ford said, no, it doesn't work that way. Many times we have been told in the armed forces that you do not get paid enough to have an opinion. Exactly. My dad said, not going to happen. Exactly right. Exactly right. Mine would give you a hug and a kiss on the cheek and then direct the rest to do the same. You know what? The response would be, how do you appreciate this 13 combat boot in your ass? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So it can be really difficult in situations where we cannot express ourselves, but that goes directly into what we're talking about here this morning. that communication, or the proper environment to communicate, allowing ourselves and those, if we are in a leadership position, what an opportunity you have to, number one, ask the people that we are leading, how do you like to be appreciated? And then we have the space to actually appreciate other people in the way that we would want to be appreciated. That, that we have the opportunity to do that. I want to scroll back up here. And sometimes Jeannie says, and sometimes we can say we are going to value ourselves enough to walk away from harmful places and people. Absolutely. And I get that that ties into what Cheryl was saying and what we're talking about here, that sometimes that's not always feasible in the moment. If you have bills to pay, if you have a family to take care of, I'm not at all saying that it's easy to go, well, I'm not going to take this anymore and just go without anything lined up, without any, planning of anything, because you do have to take care of very humanly things, your family, your bills, all these different things that you have to take care of. So I completely get that that's not always, something easy to do, but we do have to start to build up that value. So it's kind of a two-part thing as we're talking about walking around with suspicion and resentment, which is one, going back to what Jenny talks about on this upcoming episode of the Breakthrough Show, which is to really get to know yourself. And like Jeannie's talking about, value yourself enough to get in the space where you can walk away from these things that are happening. And then two, creating the space to have more conversations. Even if you can't have that conversation, like in the situations that we're talking about, hey, Miss DJ K Wild is here. Even if you're not in the space to have those conversations at work, to work on that building up of yourself. And if you are in a leadership position, if you are a parent, if you are a boss, if you are an entrepreneur and you have hired other people, what an amazing opportunity you have to create a space where it's okay to have these conversations, and to also give a person appreciation and respect, and compensate them well for the work that they're doing. And then we have less opportunities for these resentments and suspicions to build up. Judith said, even if you don't see the person, the hurt and resentment can fester and continue to build. We need to take action. Absolutely. That working on yourself and creating the space for conversations. We're still talking about some of the military stuff. I knew you guys would get a kick out of that. They would often say, if you want appreciation, go work for a damn charity or become an entertainer if you have any talent. That's right. Navy Seabees are definitely a different breed. Delight Digital Cafe is here. That's Brandon Croucher, and he's late, but he was being an adult and paying bills. We appreciate that. DJ K Wild is in the building. Good morning, DJ K. Y'all, make sure, if you are not on the TikTok, get on the TikTok and follow at DJ K Wild, because she has amazing lives, and they're amazing. And I miss them a lot because sometimes they're late at night, and I am feeling like an old lady lately, and I fall asleep early. So I miss you, my friend, and I'm glad to see your beautiful face here this morning. My dad often says that your appreciation is your paycheck that you work for. So do not allow your pride and ego to go out in front of your priorities. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is something that you have to figure out what your priorities are. And your appreciation in a workplace is a paycheck. But at the same time, we have the opportunity as leaders. Again, if you're a boss, if there's anybody under you at any organization, if you have hired anyone, you have the opportunity to not just pay this person, but to appreciate them through your words, appreciate them in the way they want to be appreciated, to create the space and ask them how they would like to be appreciated. You have the opportunity to do that. We can change things as people. As a parent, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have ever, as a parent, asked your child how they like to be appreciated. I don't know many people that have, me included. How do you like to be appreciated? And I think a lot of us can be stuck in our own ways of going, well, my parents didn't ask me that, so why would I ask my kids that? Just thinking about that for a moment. Just thinking about that for a moment. We have the opportunity, you guys. We have the opportunity, no matter what form of leadership we are in, from a parent to a CEO to anybody. You have the opportunity to ask, how do you like to be appreciated? And to fulfill that, if the person's work that they're doing for you or relationship to you actually means anything. If that means something to you, then you naturally want to do something in a way that makes them feel appreciated. Jeannie's saying, and I no longer allow employers to disrespect me with inadequate paychecks. That too. You got to figure out, if you're not being appreciated, you got to be appreciated somewhere in order to feel fulfilled in what you're doing. Okay. And so whether that's, you got to figure out what it is for you. Is it words of affirmation? Is it, do you like to be told, hey, you're doing a good job? Do you like a paycheck? Do you want to be paid fairly? What is the important part for you? And go towards that. And if you're not in a position, as we said, to jump and make that change now, start building up your own self-worth and your own value inside yourself, so that when you get in that position, you are ready and you won't accept anything less. And then going back to the original topic, today we're talking about 8 factors of happiness. We're talking about factor number 1, which is this was a study out of Duke University on happiness. Lack of suspicion and resentment is number 1. That nursing a grudge was a major factor in unhappiness. If you are upset about all of this stuff all the time and continue to see people at work that are upsetting you, build up your self-worth till you're ready to go. And when you're ready to go, now don't accept anything less. And the resentment, it can't build. It can't build if you're feeling appreciated and respected in some kind of way. Let me go back here really quickly. DJ saw Jester out there in the crowd. Brandon pays me daily with joy and happiness. I love that, Brian Tracy. Brandon says, knowing your boundaries, sometimes when someone takes advantage of your boundaries, they show it. We just have to be observant and see it. Then respect ourselves enough to see that boundaries were broken. I love that. Ms. Ford said, my dad is old school, having grown up in Jim Crow South, and believes that we should not allow anything to get in the way of your responsibilities of making it happen for your family. Yeah, I can see definitely how culture and time, that we're alive on this earth, definitely plays into this conversation. Jester is saying, my parents told me what I needed, take it or leave it. That's what I'm trying to change as a parent. That's what I'm trying to change. It's not easy. And I think that there are definite boundaries. There's definite, our job as parents is rearing our children, saying, this is the direction, like, hey, over here. The art of the redirect is the parent's job. Over here, come this way, and change this. But the way in which we do it is something that I believe we can change. And that there is, it doesn't none of this means, when I'm talking about being a leader and creating a space, none of this means that we have to be a doormat. none of this means that we have to take any crap from people, or talking about what Brandon was talking about with boundaries. None of that means that we have to lower our boundaries, but it does mean that we can be different in our implementation of these different things in our lives. I want to say a quick good morning to Nate over there on TikTok. Who is that up there? There's Jimmy. I see hiding out behind the scenes as well. Jimmy, good morning. Brandon, how are you going to know if I raise my hand? Let me know when it's time. You can put your hands down. Miss Ford says we have to value ourselves and know our worth and not allow others to impact the way we feel about ourselves, because their opinion and how they behave has more to do with them and less to do with you. Love that. DJ K Wild says, I told myself to leave or shut up and stop complaining at my job. I left. And sometimes, listen, sometimes that's what you have to do. Sometimes that's what you have to do. And again, I don't think anybody here is saying that you have to get up and leave right now if you're not in the position to do that. Bills are a real thing. Taking care of your family is a real thing. But you have to build up your value enough till when it's time to go, you are gone. And you don't look back, and you never accept something less again. And then again, going back to that initial thought, the resentment and suspicions cannot build in order to lower our happiness, which lowers our experience of joy. Jimmy is saying, so true. Respect is key in all things. Good morning. Look at your smiling face this Monday morning. Good to see you, my friend. Mr. Jackson saying good morning to DJ, and DJ saying good morning, Mr. Jackson. Cheryl saying, now that my kids are adults, I allow them to communicate what is needed. Then I follow through with corresponding actions if applicable. I love that. Jeannie saying, Shiraz talks about the impact of some things parents tell us in this book. Sometimes we take those messages into life and have to unlearn the lessons. Absolutely. And Jeannie's referring to the book Rewriting Reality by Shiraz. You can check that out on Amazon. It's that's the name of his show. I do that every time. You guys, Shiraz has a show on the Breakthrough Show Network the last Monday of every month at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, called Rewriting Reality. His book is called How to Rewrite Your Reality, with a foreword by Jack Canfield. So make sure you guys check that out. We really do have to, we spend a lot of our adult lives having to unlearn some things, which is interesting. Bill definitely invaded my mailbox. I told him to knock it off, but he won't listen. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys, we're going to take a really quick break, and we're going to be right back in just a minute to close up shop here on, what show is this? Somebody remind me. Oh yeah, it's Project Joy. We'll be right back in just a minute. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every month for exclusive programming, where we invite you to go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. I'm super excited to be here with you again today. Thank you to everybody who's been chiming in this morning and making this such a wonderful conversation. I'm really excited. As I said, this discussion this morning came from a graphic I saw over the weekend called 8 Factors of Happiness. It was a Duke University study on happiness, and they laid out 8 things that can help you be more happy in your life. And when we choose to be happy, when we experience more things that are happy, surround ourselves with people that are happier, we can then experience more joy in our lives, which is what this is all about. So we dove into number 1 today, which was to the lack of suspicion and resentment. Nursing a grudge was a major factor in unhappiness. So that was number 1, you guys. And it's been a really great conversation today. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, as I said, what is coming up this Friday on the Breakthrough Show. We are talking to Jenny Landgren and Karen Lynn this Friday on the Breakthrough Show. And it's going to be amazing because they are both extremely amazing women and have incredible stories. And also, like I said, this hot topic of choosing unity, you guys, is something that really couldn't be better timing in the world. And I'm really excited to dig into that with her on Friday. Jester saying, seeing my friends huddle brings me joy. All right, everybody in. Everybody put your hands in. Ready for Jester? We're going to do this together. Put your hands in. Right on top of mine, right there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now we'll go. 1, 2, 3, joy. Ready? 1, 2, 3, joy. Anybody have flashback nostalgic memories of school right there? DJ's yes, everybody put your hands in. There we go. It's good. It's good. So many good things to come, you guys. We, of course, have the Breakthrough Show coming up this Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to join our text community. You can text the word TikTok if you're on TikTok. You can text the word breakthrough if you're watching the Breakthrough Show right now. Text the word breakthrough to 256-685-7092. You can also just text the word hi, but the number is 256-685-7092 to join our text alerts community. And you also can talk directly to me. Did you know, for those of you that are in my text community, that you can actually text me anytime on there? I don't always have the opportunity to answer back, but for the most part I do. And it's me. It's not a VA. It's not a bot. It's not any of those things. It's me. And you can talk to me. 256-685-7092. Text the word breakthrough to automatically be added to the Breakthrough text alerts, or TikTok if you're over on TikTok, or you can just say hi and then figure out the menu and all that from there. And I see you, Brandon Croucher, texting me hi right now in the middle of the show. See, it's me. That proved it right there. Yes, DJ has personal access to me as well. Judith saying, thank you for doing this, Jessica. It brings me joy. I love that. And that's what it's all about. Joy for the Chad. Brandon's asking, by the way, you guys, in my text community, Brandon's asking, is this the real Jessica? So that should prove it to you, Brandon Croucher, that this is the real Jessica. I love that. Hey, Buddha Bless over there on TikTok. Good to see you this morning. Thank you so much, Jester. 256-685-7092. Text the word breakthrough and you can join our text community. Thank you. All right, you guys, it has been another wonderful show, and I will be back next Monday, same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. The rest of the world, timeanddate.com is your friend. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. And I want to remind you, you have the power and you can choose to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Project Joy podcast with your host, Jessica Dugas. We'll see you again next Monday and every Monday for another episode to start your week off right.